Hi, this is Scott Wilson from Pearson. I'm going to walk you through the TestNav training for spring 2024. For online testing, there are actually two testing components. First off is Pearson Access Next. This is used to manage student data and set up the online test sessions. There is a secure site, which has the background blue like you see here. And there's also a training site with a brown background. The second testing component is actually TestNav. TestNav is the student test delivery engine. Your technology staff will verify that the installation of the TestNav app has been done on all of the student testing devices. Here you'll see a screenshot of the sign-on screen. The TestNav online support page includes instructions for setup, troubleshooting steps, technical bulletins, and a recently updated section. The TestNav system requirements are listed on the support site. It shows all of the information that is needed for your technology folks to install the TestNav app. Also for TestNav, we have student tutorials. These are designed to help students become familiar with the navigation, the TestNav tools, and the different item types. The tutorials are located on the Kentucky portal. Each of the tutorials has a try it feature, which lets students perform most of the TestNav functions. You'll see here, there is a screenshot. There are 3 tutorials, grade 3-5 online testing tutorial, a grade 6 through 12 online testing tutorial, and an accommodated online testing tutorial. So to start the tutorials, after assessing the URL through the web browser, the TestNav screen will appear. On this slide, we have examples of all 3 screens. So you have, again, the grade 3 through 5 online testing tutorial, the grade 6 through 12, and the accommodated tutorial. For the accommodated tutorial, you'll see there is the text-to-speech bar. It says read and write. Students have the ability to move that anywhere they want across the top of the screen. So once the student is logged in, they do get a welcome screen. And this introduces the tutorial and lists the 3 parts of it. So moving through the test, using the tools in the test, and working with test questions. So to get started, signing in, when the student goes to sign in, you'll be asked to type in your test by using a username and password provided by the test administrator at your school. For the tutorials, you don't need that. You can just log into the tutorial without a username and password. Once you're signed in, or the next screen, there will be the terms and conditions, which is the honor code. The student will need to click the honor code box that they agree with the terms and conditions, and then click continue. There are seal codes on some of the tests. The tutorials and practice tests do not have seal codes, but if they do, you will see a screen similar to this where you put in the seal code. So once you're in TestNav, you'll see the different parts of the screen are listed here. It shows the back and next button, review, bookmark, the question number, test toolbar, the accessibility tools, and it'll have the name of the test and the part that the student is in. The review button. So the review button will let students go back and review their questions at any time. When the review button is selected, it shows all of the questions in that part of the test. The review list shows the question number as well as the number of questions in the part that the student has not yet answered. Bookmark questions will also be displayed here. A bookmark is a tag that the student can put on a question if they want to be reminded to review it later. When selected, a blue bookmark ribbon appears next to the question on the review list. After the student has gone through a part, or say part A, they will see the end of part screen, and it will say end of part A or part B. The orange and blue section buttons tell students how many questions are not answered and how many questions were bookmarked. Students should answer all the questions before they go to the next section. For spring 2024, reading, math, and social studies have a part A and a part B. So once the student has completed the test, then they can submit, or completed the section, they can submit that section. So they will see a submit section button. Once they click on that, it will give them a warning telling them if they want to continue, they will not be allowed to go back. So if they select yes, the student cannot go back into this section later. Exiting and resuming the test later. To exit the test before completing it, students will select the button next to their name in the top right-hand corner of the screen. So up over here in the right corner where it says sign out of TestNav, students will then select the Save and Return Later button. For spring 2024, when students are taking, say, part A on one day and part B on another day, we need to be sure that they are signing out correctly. If they just go up to the corner of the screen and click on the X, it will close the screen, but it will not sign them out of TestNav appropriately, and there will be some extra work that will need to be done to sign them back in. When the student reaches the end of the test, be it part A or a part B, they will have a screen that says submit final answers. If the student is done, then they will select yes, submit final answers. Again, for spring 24, reading, math, and social studies have both part A and part B. Okay, now we're going to talk about using the tools in the test. Once in the toolbar, students can select a tool button to open a tool. Listed here, you have the pointer, the notepad, dictionary and thesaurus, calculator, and answer eliminator. One thing to note, students can only use one tool at a time, and students will only see tools on questions where they are allowed to use them. The pointer tool. The pointer tool is basically like the cursor or your arrow on your regular computer. It's used to select an answer, to drag an answer choice to the correct spot, to mark objects, and to turn other tools on and off. The notepad. Students can write notes during the test using the notepad tool. To move the notepad, the students will select the top of the notepad and drag it around. Selecting the notepad button again will close the notepad. If a student returns to a question later, they can see their notes again by selecting the notepad. Students may copy and paste from the notepad to their response area. For reading, notes are saved for the whole passage. For other tests, notes are saved within each question. The text help text-to-speech tool. This is the text help read and write for TestNav. This tool or extension is used to provide the tools for students with disabilities who require testing accommodations. This information pertains to the text-to-speech. When the tool is installed, the extension creates a toolbar like you see here. For the text-to-speech tool, each of the icons has a different function. So the feature of the circle with the pointer is click and hover speech. There's a play button and a pause button. You'll see here the description and common usage and special notes around each of those tools. Couple additional tools with the speech to text bar, the stop and settings. Again, you'll have a description and common usage and any special notes for those tools. Next, we have calculators. Calculators will be available on some item sets. On the item sets that allow a calculator, you'll either have a for-function, a scientific, or a graphing calculator. When the calculator button is selected, one of those will open. To move the calculator on the screen, the student can select and drag it where they want it to be. Student can use the buttons on their keyboard to use the calculator. Selecting the calculator button again will close it. Here are samples of the calculators. The tutorial will display the icons of the calculator, so students will be able to interact with a for-function, a scientific, or a graphing calculator. Students will not see all of the calculators together on an item during the test. Next, we have the dictionary. To open the dictionary, students will select the dictionary button. Students can search a word. One thing to note, this is only available in on-demand writing. The answer eliminator tool. So for multiple choice and multiple select questions, students will have the answer eliminator tool. Students can use this tool to cross out answer choices they think are incorrect. Next is the highlighter tool. To highlight words, students can use the highlighter tool. Then they can click and drag the mouse over the words they want to highlight to select them. They can choose a color and the area to be highlighted. Selecting the words again and choosing unhighlight will remove the highlighting. The tools that are in the drop-down menu are listed here. These tools include changing the background or foreground color, enable the magnifier, the line reader masking, and enable answer masking. The color contrast tool lets students choose the color of the words and the screen. So after selecting change the background and foreground color, the color choices will appear. Students will select their choice and then select continue. The color settings will show until another choice is made. The magnifier tool, this lets students make a part of the screen larger. After selecting enable magnifier, students can drag the magnifier over the area that they want to make larger. Students will then select disable magnifier and enter their answer. The zoom function, students can also zoom the entire screen. The zoom tool can be used to make the whole screen bigger, larger. The line reader mask tool. This can help students focus on one part of the question or reading passage at a time. Students will select Show Line Reader Mask from the user dropdown, then drag the line reader mask over the passage or the question. To close the reader mask, students will go back to the user dropdown and select Hide Line Reader Mask. The answer masking tool. This tool lets students choose which answer choices will show on the screen. After selecting answer masking from the user dropdown, all of the answers will be masked. To show a masked answer, students will select the eye icon next to the answer choice. Now we're going to talk a little bit about working with test questions. The student tutorial will teach students how to work with all types of questions that may be on the test. This can include things like scrolling from top to the bottom of a passage, multiple choice items, multiple select items, equation editor items, short answer, extended response, and technology enhanced items. The glossary. So some reading passages may include words that are not familiar to you. Some of these words have dotted line below them. In these cases, when you select one of those words, its meanings will appear in a glossary definition. Now we'll look at some of the specific examples of questions. Multiple choice. The multiple choice questions will have a circle next to each answer, and there is only one correct answer. Multiple select items are questions that have several answer choices and allow one or two choices to be selected. Multiple choice items are represented by a square next to each answer choice. Equation editor items are on the math tests. For some questions, the students must show their work, and they will type their question into the box A using the keyboard and math symbols. After the work is shown, the answer is entered in the answer box C. For short answer and extended responses, the students will type answers into a response box. They will click inside the response box to begin. Pressing enter twice will start a new paragraph. The toolbar can be used to make words bold, italic, underline. Bullets or numbered lists can also be added. Answers may end up being longer than the space provided. So if writing fills the box, the scroll bar will appear, and this can be used to see all of the writing. Students do not need to use all of the space for their answer. Technology enhanced items are different types of questions that students will have a variety of ways to answer. Some of the examples for technology enhanced items include drag and drop, number line, inline choice, fill in the blank, line graph, systems of equations, function graph, coordinate plane, hot text, and table grid. Here's an example of a drag and drop item. Again, in the tutorial, you will see the try it button so the student can actually try the functionality in the tutorial. The summary page at the end informs the students that they have reached the end of the tutorial. It contains additional information to submit final answers to finish the tutorial. Next, here are lists of resources for Pearson Access Next, the Kentucky portal, Pearson Access Next online support, TestNav 8 online support, the Pearson Access Next training site, the test administrator manual, grade-specific scripts, and the TestNav student tutorials. Contact information is here. You can contact KDE at the phone number listed or DAC info email, or you can call the Pearson Help Desk. Thank you.